The Chaser Report is recorded on Gadigal land.
Striving for mediocrity in a world of excellence. This is the Chaser Report.
Hello and welcome to the Chaser Report with Dom and Charles.
And Charles, let's talk about the future in today's podcast. Let's not look at the now. Let's not look at trivialities of everyday life. Let's dream big and better. Let's look at a future made in Australia.
Yes, and look, today's story is a heartwarming story. It's a good news story. For once, we're talking about the future, but it's not some sort of depressing, oh, we're all going to drown, oh, we're going to all die in a ball of fire caused by climate change.
Yeah.
Today is a story about Aussie innovation. It's about the pluck and determination of what Australia can achieve when we put our mind to it.
This is the thing, Charles. I mean, we've discussed this briefly before. The dream of an Australia that manufactures. Going back to the days when we used to make cars. We used to build our own train carriages. I know they're still trying to do that in Victoria, but in the sensible parts of the country, we don't. We import things from Spain that never turn up. Going back to where everything in the supermarket was made locally. We never had to import anything anymore. What happened to that Australia, Charles? And why can't we have it again?
Exactly. I've always said that the real problem with war...
Wait, how did we get to war?
This takes a bit of a way in. Stay with me on this, right? The problem with war is that it's too expensive to kill people. Every time Australia rolls out one of its, missiles or whatever, it has to pay millions of dollars to, I don't know, like America or France or England or Israel or wherever they bought the missile from.
Yeah, they're consumables, as we've discussed before. It's expensive and it's an import. I'm tired of importing. We've got to import everything. I go to Kmart these days and everything's made in China. I buy it because it's $2 because it's made in China. Yeah. But it's just everything's imported. Where's the innovation in the local chutzpah?
And the biggest line item in the budget for the next 30 years is going to be this fucking AUKUS thing, which is all imported. It's like, should we buy it from France or America or England or whatever? Well, what about the homegrown alternative? What about being able to buy your T-shirt from Australia? What about being able to buy your orange juice instead of having, on the side, it was made in New Zealand, it was made in Malaysia, it was made in China.
Yeah, why don't we underpay children to make our technology devices in this country?
Why don't we have an Aussie version of the iPhone, which...
The Oz phone.
The Oz phone.
With Aussie design software that's not quite world class, but at least it's local.
Yeah, it'd be run by Telstra, wouldn't it?
Probably.
Look, as I was saying, the problem with war is it just is so expensive to kill everyone.
Have you got a solution?
Well, the thing is, this is not some, pipe dream. This is something that's actually happened, Dom, which is that there's been an innovation and the Australian Army has announced that a homegrown lethal drone called the Owl is about to be launched in Australia.
Sorry, did you say the owl? As in
the owl.
As in sort of nocturnal creature that goes hoot hoot?
Yeah, exactly.
Before we talk about what it can do, Charles, is the brand set in stone? Because I'm feeling distinctly unscared.
I reckon whoever came up with the name asked ChatGPT. Like, don't you think, if you ask ChatGPT what's a good name for an owl, they'd say, a good name for a drone, they'd say, what about an Innovero owl?
Is that what this is? Because I think we're kind of burying the lead here in the name.
Oh,
Do we now have our own version of the Reaper? See, the Reaper drone, that's got a good brand.
Yes.
If you threaten to set in the Reaper drones,
got a good brand.
I would be like, shit, the Reapers are coming. But if you're going, a flock of owls is coming, I'd go, how adorable. Maybe that's part of the point.
Well, I think this is the problem with Australia, though, right, is we've grown so out of touch with innovating. We can't even name our innovation well enough. Like, isn't the whole problem that, if we were like China or Japan or even France, we'd have really good names for innovations.
Yeah.
But we haven't made anything here in the last 30
We've forgotten
years.
how to do it.
So we don't know how, because, the little black box that everyone likes, that was made in Australia. That was a cool name. I mean, it wasn't even black, and they called it a black box.
You mean the aeroplane thing?
Yeah.
The plane crash thing.
Yeah, that was our innovation, wasn't it? That was the last innovation.
Do you think that we could combine the two so that you have a flying drone and then it sort of somehow sends a black box along with the missile so we can find out what happened?
I think that's what we should do. So, except, no. You want to cover up your war
of course.
You?
So, Charles, tell me what this thing does. Yeah. Is this exactly what it does?
Okay.
Is it one of those wonderful things where people get to sit in, I don't know, Las Vegas and just remotely sit there and kill people a long way away, which is wonderful when we get to do it and utterly terrifying when we ponder anyone doing it to us?
Yeah, no, this is exactly what it is. It's an unmanned armoured vehicle, right? So you can just kill people from the comfort of your own lounge chair, right? And it's been described by the defence industry as an urgent innovation, right? So, because the whole problem is, all around the world, I don't know whether you've noticed, but like Ukraine, Iran, Russia, they've all, in the last few years, just all come up with their own drones. And they're all killing people really, really cheaply now. Like, the days of needing, aircraft carriers and massive nuclear-powered submarines is over. Like, we just don't need any of that shit anymore. What we need is these really cheap drones, and and the whole point is you can sort of make them from stuff from Hobbyco, right? Like, these are not sophisticated things. You just need to sort of get enough battery life to be able to hold a, I don't know, missile or whatever, like some sort of killing device. And then it doesn't matter if they get then exploded or something like that, like the enemy shoots them down, because you've got hundreds more.
Oh, so are you saying this device is so simple, so comically basic and easy to build that Australia's got one?
Yes,
is
exactly.
That basically? So, Charles, if this thing is so simple and obvious and like just get bits from like a hobby store and you probably order the bits on Amazon or Temu. You probably get the bits on Temu. Charles, has anyone?
I think that's what they did.
Has anyone pondered? Just considered the outside possibility that maybe, I don't know, terrorists and bad people can get them as well. I mean, if Australia can make them, can't anyone make them?
It's like the lowest common denominator. Once Australia can start,
wouldn't it be? Oh shit, Australia's. Don't worry too much. They're calling it an owl. It's clearly not going to be able to do anything. But this a world where anyone can make a killer drone. I don't know that I want to live in that world, Charles. It sounds like I might not be able to anyway. It's the problem might be taken care of.
The good news. The good news is that they've been developing it. It's urgent. But actually, if you look into the detail, they're just going to do a test run. So they haven't actually proven that it definitely actually works. So they're doing continuing trials.
So it's still kind of a submarine. Is it? It's a hypothetical owl.
But look how much cheaper it is. They've only spent $5.3 million in defence contracts to design, develop, and build. I mean, does that put it outside the reach of terrorist groups?
I mean, the thing that troubles me about this is where's the payola to America? As we've discussed before, isn't the real basis of our defence? It's not about the equipment. It's about the fact that America's getting all these billions of dollars. I would have thought if I was America, I'd be trying to shut this whole thing down and sell us some sort of a Boeing product or whatever.
Hang on. No, funny you should mention that. So the thing is, like, it is a Western Australian-based company, but it's actually a joint venture between this Western Australian-based company called Innovero and a Boeing subsidiary
in situ
Pacific.
I'm getting out of here, Charles. Let's take some ads while I flee the building.
The Chaser Report. News a few days after it happens.
Okay, I'm back. I've remembered that it's Boeing, so it won't take off the ground. They won't have windows, so I'm safe for now.
Well, no, they'll have windows, but they'll then fall off.
Oh, shit. Okay, I'm out of here again. No, tell me.
Well, yeah, and so the missiles just fall randomly.
Oh, God.
They launch and... Okay, but I'm sure that they can get around that with some Aussie innovation. Maybe that's what the Aussie side can bring, is the ability to put together an aircraft that doesn't fall apart in the air.
Well, we've been able to patch up the Collins-class submarines. We've clearly got some people who are great at making ship products still serviceable, sort of.
The other tiny little detail that sort of doesn't quite work for Australia is that the range of this drone is 200 kilometres, right? And it can stay in the air for 30 minutes, right? So, I can imagine that works well in, say, Ukraine.
Oh, it'd be great for Ukraine.
You've got Russians inside your land, and 200 kilometres, you can literally
do several
fly across
runs
to Russia.
Yeah.
I mean, you can probably, you can do lots, right? Like, then all these countries that are using drones to sort of, it's not, because you've got land borders, right? Here, I mean, who could we invade? Norfolk Island?
I love that we've put it in Western Australia as well, because I feel very secure from this thing now. It's got a range of 200 kilometres. There are thousands and thousands of kilometres between me and any part of WA. That said, I suppose if you put it in Darwin, you could maybe get to something. I don't know, Norfolk Island.
We could invade Papua New Guinea.
How far is Tasmania from Victoria?
I don't think we'd make it across.
We would make it across the Bass Strait.
You don't want to be flying it in the wind.
Yeah, we could get it. Could we get it down to Antarctica? Is that kind of distance? Take out some penguins.
I've always hated those penguins. They are
fuckers.
fucked. Penguins are my and the puffins.
Oh yeah,
let's take out some puffins.
Fur seals. Yeah. Anyway, look. So
we can get back into the whaling business.
This is our defence future. Is a terrifying thing called an owl based in Western Australia that can only go 200 kilometres.
I've discovered why it's called an owl.
Oh God.
Sorry, I should have probably looked at that up.
Yeah. Research isn't a bad thing, but look, they haven't done any research on how far Australia is from any military targets. So why start now?
We could probably. Do you reckon Vanuatu? No, Vanuatu is about 800 kilometres away, isn't it?
I have no idea. I don't
think there's a single country.
I mean, if there's a civil war on the way, this might be one way New South Wales can finally win state of origin.
This is how we could take out Queensland.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's the only thing I can think of.
Yeah. And this is how Western Australia secedes. So it's a sort of win-win for everyone.
That's true.
Yes.
Yeah.
Except surely if it's based in Perth, it's more than 200 kilometres to get to their own border.
They can't attack Canberra. All they can do is, I don't know, what are they going to get, Geraldton?
This would be very useful if you're trying to take out Canberra and you're in, say, Wagga.
Yeah, or Queanbeyan.
Queanbeyan.
Okay, what you're telling me, Charles, is that if you imagine the sort of global league of autonomous drones, because the ones in America can fly halfway across the world and then back again. Like, we know this because they've used them.
Yeah.
We're at the kiddies table of kiddie tables. Like, there's a kiddie table at this event, and we're at the kiddie table to the kiddie table, and they're laughing at us at the big table. That's what this is.
Maybe what we should do is we should enlist some of those terrorists who've started building these drones to help us out.
You think?
Because I have a feeling they might have better range than us. Like, you know what I mean? Like, just sort of sidle up to, I don't know, there's some terrorists in southern Philippines, aren't there, who don't get
in
much
Mindanao,
publicity
the Moro liberation fighters.
I mean,
and the way the government's going, there's probably going to be some that they've just released from jail somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I feel like there might be some sort of, low-key C or D grade terrorist group who might be able to help the Australian army out.
Don't forget that the Americans post World War II were very happy to accommodate Nazi rocket scientists. So there's a precedent for ignoring the sort of elephant in the room or the.
So what we do is we try and attract refugees from trouble spots around the world.
In fact, we might get some American rocket engineers.
But what we do is it's sort of like a Dutton refugee program, where instead of getting people who are fleeing their lives, we get people who are wanting to kill people. Like we get the sort of the baddies in.
How is that a Dutton program?
Well, he doesn't like refugees, but if we get the people who are persecuting refugees to come here.
I'm just thinking we get the same rocket scientists that the Americans got, because
we get Nazis.
Well, just anyone from America who's worried about America. We could get political refugees from America, couldn't we? I think that'd be fine. Like, any Democrat from November is going to be looking for a new job.
They won't be good at building drones.
Oh, it's true. They'd be terrible at it, wouldn't they?
They'd be good at, I don't know, setting up protests on campus or something.
Yeah, they'd be good at writing an agonised piece for Mother Jones about drones.
Yeah, they'd be good at op-eds.
Yeah.
Op-eds about drones. No. Because the other little tiny detail, which doesn't sound too good, is that OWL stands for one-way loitering munition.
What?
So I think that the point is you launch them. You're not going to get them back. They're like one use.
Oh,
They go one way. They're a bit like the Collins class. You know how the Collins class submarine couldn't turn left?
Yeah.
They can't turn around.
A single use
send them out.
Drone.
Yeah.
I must say, if they don't need to come back safely, I can understand Boeing's involvement. That makes a lot more sense now.
That's their expertise.
I think that works. But Charles,
that's the problem. Their drone division started making their passenger planes.
Yeah, that's right.
It's like, we don't need doors.
But I don't think this isn't going to happen, is it? Don't we know someone who's campaigning against any single-use products and has had a lot of success?
No. Yes. Craig will get wind of this, and then he'll put a stop to it. He'll demand recyclable drones.
Yeah, like a keep drone.
See, I think we've discovered why nothing is made in Australia, Dom, because you got these left liberal, namby-pamby, inner city types who just complain about, single-use drones, even though this will, even with single-use, this is a far more efficient killing machine. Like, the amount of money you spend per death is way lower. And
that's the metric that really matters.
Missile. Yeah. I think that's right.
In the end of the day, I mean, this is all, you can have your human rights, you can have your rules of war, but it's the dollars. It's the dollars per enemy kill that we really care
that's
about.
right.
Yeah.
That's the metric. That's the only metric that. And look, I hope that part of this is. I mean, does this come from Australia? The Albo's whole future made in Australia.
Well, that's where I started with this.
Plan?
I mean, this is the thing that might make all of this impossible is because no ambitious government program ever happens in Australia.
Yes.
So, I mean, a killer future made in Australia. I just can't see it somehow, Charles. I'm disappointed to say. I don't know that we'll ever get
this was supposed to be
owls.
our feel-good episode. This was going to be our like you're just shitting on it.
Yeah, but Charles, this is a podcast. You listen once and then discard it forever. It's the ultimate
single-use podcast.
Yeah. So just
and there is quite a lot of droning.
That is. So just go and delete this download and go and do something else.
Our gear is from Rode. We are part of the Iconoclast Network.
Back with another completely disposable episode tomorrow.
See ya.